of Legends, it's not uncommon to hear from a teammate that they actually want your team to lose.
I'm definitely not gonna be trying. I got this. I'm literally gonna make us lose on purpose. Wait for the next game. There you go, buddy. Enjoy the L.
It's a very specific kind of toxicity that's existed in the game for years, but one which the community is getting increasingly sick of.
Brother, I will lose every fucking game. I could care two Brother, I will lose for people that don't deserve to win. Period.
So, why do League players exhibit this toxic self-sabotage, and is there something deeper going on here? I spoke to an expert to find out more. So it's important to note that this toxic gatekeeping that we just saw a few examples of is nothing new in League of Legends. For as long as there's been a ranked ladder, there's been tilted teammates giving up because their team doesn't deserve to win. But this season, there's been a growing frustration from the community, with many feeling this mentality has now become rampant. And to be clear here, we're not talking about your usual inters running it down after their bot dies twice to the same gank, and we're not even talking about people rage splitting because they feel it's better than grouping with their teammates who just keep dying. We're talking about people who admit to sabotaging their own games because they believe their teammates do not deserve to win.
No thank you do I want to let this Veigar win this game. I will gladly lose Elo to see him lose Elo. Bing Chaling.
So, why do people do this? Well, you'll often hear players say they're doing it to teach their teammates a lesson, and that they don't mind losing because they can just gain Elo back faster than the teammate they're punishing.
Ooh, I'm petty. Ooh. You know what's crazy? I just lost my own promos just so that guy could lose his, but I know I can get master like in my sleep.
But I spoke to Professor Rabindra Ratan of Michigan State University, who's authored studies into toxicity in gaming culture, and he felt the reason for this behavior could go a bit deeper.
But the most important theory, psychological theory, I think in this context, is the psychological reactance theory. This idea of, you could think of it as the pouty child syndrome or the sour grapes syndrome, which is, it's just being contrarian in order to maintain psychological consonance. Another way we could think about it is cognitive dissonance.
For Rabindra, there's a clash going on in the brains of these gatekeepers. They believe that they deserve to win, and so faced with the prospect of a loss, the player is met with a decision. They either have to change that initial belief, maybe admit they could have personally played better, or perhaps accept that rough matches are a natural part of team-based games and that you can't win them all. But what can be easier is to simply shift their initial goal to keep alive that belief that they deserve to win.
Or if I lost, I don't like losing, but in order to maintain consonance, it's actually I do like losing. Oh, how do I say I like losing? Well, I blame other people. This could also be known as the carpenter blaming his tools phenomenon, except when your tools are your teammates.
Rabindra went on to explain that this behavior could be linked to something called psychological reactance theory. Now, the theory states that people react to perceived threats to their freedom of choice or behavior by doing the exact opposite of what is being imposed on them in order to reassert their own freedom.
Well, what better way to push back against a teammate with whom you were trying to win is to say, well, actually, I'm glad you didn't win, right? You're pushing back against that assumed team goal in contradiction or contrary to those people who you dislike.
In the context of a game like League of Legends, gatekeepers shifting their goal from wanting to win a game to hoping they lose in order to punish teammates allows them to establish a sense of control and autonomy, even if it means them losing the game. So perhaps there is a psychological explanation for all this, but then the question becomes, why does it feel so widespread in League of Legends compared to other games? Well, perhaps it's because League of Legends has always been such a team-based game. Compared to other big titles, players may feel a lot more at the mercy of their teammates unless their skill level is considerably higher than everyone else in the lobby. And it's that lack of agency that may cause the cognitive dissonance and psychological reactance we've just been discussing. But at the end of the day, it's like, that's League of Legends, It's a very team-based game, and sometimes matches don't go your way through no fault of your own. So perhaps if gatekeepers truly accepted that fact, then perhaps they wouldn't feel such an acute loss of control and then feel the need to self-sabotage to re-establish it. So, does all of this fall on the players then? Is League of Legends itself completely blameless here? Well, some players have argued that they push for a forfeit to punish their teammates for a bad start to the game because snowballing is at its highest in League of Legends and comebacks seemingly never happen. And if people feel like comebacks never happen, then their sense of control and agency is going to plummet if the game starts badly, which we know may lead them down the path of psychological reactance and gatekeeping. Now, this is something that Riot has kind of been struggling with for a long time. They don't want to go back to how the game was 10 years ago, where matches regularly went on for over 45 minutes, even if comebacks were common. And anyone who's been playing in the time since then has probably noticed all the things that Riot has done over the years to kind of speed up the game. Stronger champions, cheaper itemization, more abundant resources, powerful objective buffs and runes have been intentional decisions to make games quicker and more bloody. The infamous durability patch from 2 years ago sought to redress the growing imbalance and reduce power creep across the board, but many players still don't feel like this did enough to create higher chances of comebacks if things went badly in the early game, which doesn't give them a sense of agency, and yeah, you can see where I'm going with this one again. So here we are. League does have an issue with self-sabotaging gatekeepers who seem to actively welcome a loss if it means they can punish their undeserving teammates. This could be linked to a well-known psychological phenomenon that is being exacerbated by the high-stakes, low-agency gameplay that some players complain of in League of Legends. If that's the case, is the onus on Riot to address that by increasing player agency or the opportunity for comebacks, or maybe by just more severely punishing those that choose to gatekeep? Have you experienced gatekeeping? Perhaps you're a gatekeeper yourself. Let me know where you sit on the whole debate and where you think this behavior actually comes from, because I don't think it's going away anytime soon.